And welcome back to the channel, everybody. Welcome back to a very different video, a video that, well, because you all requested it, so many of you requested it, and I haven't done it in so long, and I get that to go back a few years to watch a video about this is probably not going to happen. Nobody's going to go back hunting through 400 videos to try to find the video where I already addressed this. So I thought I'd put up another one. It came highly suggested by so many of you via Instagram, telling me, asking me the question. And I can only write back these long paragraphs so many times before I realize it's easier just to do a video. So the question is, what do you do for a living, Brad? What do you do for a living to have all these cars, to have this great life, to live in Orange County, one of the most expensive counties in America, in the most expensive state in America? And yes, taxation is horrible here. It sucks. I get it. California. You can all comment that crap. But I'm not leaving my parents. I'm not leaving my wife's parents. I'm not leaving all of my daughter's friends. I'm not leaving all of my lifelong friends. I'm not leaving my incredible job I've worked my whole life to achieve the position I have. We'll talk about in a second. So all those comments of, that's why you need to get out of there. It's like, shut up. Just stop saying that. I don't tell you to leave your support system, your family, your friends. I'm not leaving here. You know why? Because I make enough money and I stroke the check. And the check is enormous. I did my taxes for October, and I'm going to write a check for well over $100,000 in extra tax that I've got to pay to the feds and the state. That's a lot of money. And you know what? I wrote it so that I can be in sunshine. I could be in our pool in the winter. Thanksgiving, we will have a pool party, and we will all be swimming in the pool and having a barbecue. That's crazy. And then we'll do it again at Christmas time, and I'll be able to use my cars all year round. So I digress, but I had to get that out. How do I afford all this stuff? And it's certainly not YouTube. Now, I make really, I think it's cool money on YouTube. And recently, it's been good. It's been going up. And I'll be transparent. I'll even put up on the screen right now what I've been making so far on YouTube. And it's definitely been getting better. And I appreciate all of your support in watching it. And it definitely helps pay for all the toys and separate out my OC Motivator business expenses and have those expenses covered by this little corporation I've got. So it's really nice the way it's ran. And it's just going to keep getting better because I'm going to keep bringing you all valuable content, and hopefully you'll all keep watching. And it's free to you. All you got to do is watch an ad once in a while. Even if you click skip, I'm still going to get you with a couple of the non-skippables, and I'm going to make some money for putting the time and effort into this thing and receive some incredible tax write-offs for owning a small business. So that's this business. But then what do I do? How do I afford? Because obviously there's another, few $100,000 in expense in my life above and beyond YouTube that I've got to figure out and then save money and plan for retirement and save for college for my daughter, everything else. So how do I do that? Now, the reason why I'm being so transparent with you all is I went back and watched a pretty famous YouTuber's older video when he was just getting started, around the same level of subscribers where I'm at right now. But I went back and watched that video where he did a video of what I do for a living. And what makes me crazy is every time I see these videos, people get this really blurry explanation of what they do. This guy was like, yeah, I run some websites and I write a blog and I do it. It's like, wait a minute. There's no way you're paying for all this stuff with that. Go deeper. Tell me more. And you just don't get it. And it seems like so many of these videos, you just don't get the straight story. So I'm going to give you the straight story. I'm going to try to make sure there's no gray area here. It's very simple. And I'm going to give you a little bit of history, which might make this video longer, because this is intended to be motivational, not just braggadocious. I don't want to brag that I'm doing well and my life's good. I want to talk about where I came from to where I am. That way, if anyone's in any point in between these, you push a little bit harder, you get some inspiration out of this, and you hopefully far surpass everything I've ever accomplished and achieve all of your dreams. So the short answer is, I am a regional vice president with a large large real estate company, publicly traded real estate company, residential real estate company. I oversee a region in Orange County, San Diego, a small part of LA County, the Riverside County, Inland Empire. So it's a lot of mileage and a lot of offices. It's around 30 offices and just under 3,000 people. And I love every one of them, and I'm grateful to have every one of them. I love everybody I work with. I tell everybody, I'm not your boss until you stop doing your job. And that's the kind of boss that I am. I am your partner. I am your supporter. I am your biggest fan, your biggest cheerleader, your biggest supporter, until you're not doing your job or you're doing something wrong. In which case, then I'm forced into being that tough dad and dealing with those things. So because of that, I'm not a micromanager. I really believe in inspiration and motivation and propping people up who are self-motivated, have a desire to succeed, and really just, are responsible human beings. I always say, if you hire the right people, you don't have to micromanage them. You don't have to be a jerk boss. Just hire right. And for the most part in my life, I've done that. I learned that from my old boss that got me into leadership originally. But now let's go back. How did I get into this? And I got into this because I was in the Air Force. Well, let's go back to high school. In high school, I was quiet, didn't talk to anybody. I mind my own business, and I just wanted cars. I used to sit at lunch, go do my homework at lunch, sit in the front of school, and watch all the cars coming and going, because I went to a school that was a very wealthy school, yet I lived way down on the other side of the railroad tracks in the not rich area. And I rode my bike all the way to this rich school, and I got to see all these crazy cars, and we couldn't have them. I didn't have them. My parents didn't have them. So I had to go hustle. And I kept thinking, what do I got to do at like 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18? What do I got to do to be able to be one of them? Like, how can I do that? How can I go make that money? And I asked my dad, he says, well, don't be a plumber, son. It's a hard work. Now, there's a lot of wealthy plumbers out there, but we weren't one of them. My dad worked really, really hard, but he said, don't do this job. This job will kill you. He really did not want me to be a plumber. But they did want me to find something that would be rewarding and safe and pay me a good income. But I realized that whatever I do, it's going to have to be pretty extraordinary to make a really good income. So I was ditching school one day with my buddy, and we got caught, and we got thrown into a classroom on career day. And it was air traffic control, air traffic control, which was the radar approach control, the tower, really hard job, one of the highest stressful jobs in the world. And I remember thinking, damn, this is pretty cool. I want to do this. So while my parents were on vacation, a short vacation, I was 16 at the time, and I crashed my Toyota 4x4 into a telephone pole and got these scars right here, and Grandma had to come pick me up, and we had to tell my parents that I totaled my truck, but I'm okay, and that was horrible. And then I thought one way to distract them would be to go and see if I can join the military and escape the punishment that would come. And I went to the recruiters, and I met with all the recruiters, and ultimately settled in the Air Force, which gave me the highest likelihood to be an air traffic controller. And I signed up with the delayed enlistment program. My parents had to come back and had to go in and sign to allow me to go to classes for the next couple years, so that I would get credit towards my inactive service after I got out of the Air Force after my 4-year enlistment. And they came back, they were shocked, and I'm not sure they were 100% behind it, but it's what I wanted to do, because I knew that I wanted to be an air traffic controller. And it was a great job, and it was considered to be a high-paying job, and one that would give me the road to go find my way to getting cool cars. And I did it. Went in the military as soon as I turned 18, spent 4 years as an air traffic controller, 98% washout rate, but breezed through that like no big deal, enjoyed the heck out of it. It was like playing a video game where you have people's lives in your hands. Did it for 4 years, and one day I walked into a real estate office to go pay rent in the little house that I was renting in Blytheville, Arkansas, and I noticed in front of this real estate office there were a whole bunch of really fancy cars, Cadillacs and those big old Mercedes-Benzes back in the early 90s. And I was like, damn. I walked in, I gave the rent check, and I'm like, what do you guys do? How do you guys make all this money? And this real estate gal goes, well, this is what we do. I mean, I buy and sell real estate. I sell real estate for my clients. I help people find and buy their real estate, and this is how I get paid. And I was like, that sounds really cool. Now, I decided that moment that I had one more year left of my enlistment, that I wanted to be a businessman. I wanted to be a suit and tie guy. So I went to Westbrooks Clothing every single month when I got my little tiny paycheck, which is about $400 every 2 weeks in the military, and I went and I bought a tie. I bought a tie every month for the 12 months before my enlistment ended. I did not own a suit, but I knew that I wanted to be a real estate person. I wanted to be a businessman, and I needed a tie because that lady says, you got to dress up, you got to wear a shirt and tie, and you got to get out there and you got to work hard and hustle. I'm like, cool. Well, I couldn't afford the shirts, I couldn't afford the suits, but I could afford the ties, so I had 12 ties. My enlistment came up, and I got out. I bought my first suit and on a credit card, and I went to a real estate company and that said free real estate school, big sign on the front of the building. I went in, it was $300, put it on my credit card as well, and went through the class, and there were 20 of us in there. 2 of us graduated, 2 of us got a license, 2 of us stayed in the business, and after about 6 months, the other guy was gone. But I did well. And the first year, I think, after making $12,000 a year in the Air Force, the first year I think I made close to, I think it was $80,000. The second year I made $130,000. The third year, about $150,000. And then from that point on, it was bouncing between $150,000 and $200,000 in my 20s. And I'm talking 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. And then one day my buddy comes to me and he says, hey, there's this super rich guy that's buying up all these Prudential offices in this region, and he called me. I went and met with him. I said, oh, he called me too, but I'm not going anywhere. I'm happy where I'm at. I'm making great money. I've got a boat. I've got cars. I've got, everything. I'm not going anywhere. And I'm 27, going on 28 years old. Things are good. Why would I go anywhere? And he's like, no, you got to meet with this guy. He's really amazing. So I did, and I met with this guy. His name was Rich, and he was very, very rich. And turns out it's the nicest guy ever. Cleveland guy, Cleveland kid, grew up there. Now at that point he was, 50 years old, and I'm 27, 28 years old. And I love the guy. Humble, self-deprecating, beating himself up for mistakes he's made in his life, but nonetheless, he just sold his company for like $15 million. He's been making $4 or $5 million a year for many, many years. And he says, look, I would love to have you at our company. And I was going to join there as a real estate agent. And it was going to be less money up front, but a better opportunity with a better company and to work with this guy. And I still wasn't sure. So over the next few weeks, he finally said, you know what? Would you ever consider being a manager, like a sales manager? And I'm like, nah, man, those guys don't make any money. Why would I want to do that? I mean, I'm out there. I'm an athlete, man. I'm running hard. I'm making great money. And he says, no, I think you'd make a great manager. And my best friend from high school, he says, I think you would make a great manager too. And we're like, damn. Well, I mean, we can't even match our socks. Why would you want to hire us? And he just says, look, I see something in you guys, and I think you guys would be great. I'm like, okay, what do you pay? And he told me $3,000 a month. Now, mind you, I was making 150 plus back in 1997, 98. And he says, which is like $250,000 today, maybe. And he says, I'll pay $3,000 a month. I'm like, what the hell am I gonna do with $3,000 a month? My BMW payment's $1,000 a month. I mean, what are you talking about? This is crazy. I mean, rent and the bills and everything. It just didn't make any sense. So he says, well, I'm going to teach you how to run a real estate company. I'm going to teach you how to run a business. One of the things you said, you never got to go to college. You never got taught how to run a business. And evidenced by how you're spending your money right now, it's clear you could use that direction, and I'd be willing to give it to you. But it's going to cost you, and I'm going to pay you $3,000 a month. Now, if you do the job, if you blow the doors off, if you crush it, you will make a lot of money. But you got to come in and cut your teeth first. I mean, I'm taking a chance on you, take a chance on me. Over a few week period, many meetings, a few dinners, finally I decided to make the move. My buddy made the move, and I'll just cut to the chase here. Crushed it. I mean, took an office from going out of business to being the #1 office in the market area. I attracted every great real estate person out there. I brought people to a company that I believed in, a company that I had say in, and it was amazing. And after 15 years, I ascended from a branch manager to the vice president of that company, and then the husband and wife, that wonderful man that I loved so much and appreciated. And I liked his wife, but things weren't going very good with her because she decided she hated him and decided to destroy the company. So they went holy war on each other, and I was like, that War of the Roses. I was like Danny DeVito in between the two of them, and they just shredded the company. And after 15 years, I had to make a move, and that was hard because I had 1,000 people at that point that were looking to me for direction, and the company's going down in flames. So I met probably 20 other companies, and everybody made great offers. And finally, I took the offer that was probably the lowest offer, but the best company and the best people and the best place for all the people that would be coming with me, as that other company faltered. And I've been there now for 10 years. I don't ever talk about the company name. And if when you comment, I delete it because I don't need people hunting me down and doing weird stuff. I already get, probably once a quarter, I get somebody weird driving by my house. I get, chased down the highway, and I'm a tiny YouTuber, and that happens. And believe me, I love seeing you all. I love even on the road when I see you, it's awesome. But sometimes it's weird when I get followed for a very long period of time after we've already done the hi, how's it going thing on the freeway, and then it just gets weird. So, or when I know that somebody driving by my house says, hey, I follow your channel, and you act like it was just random. So I don't say that. I don't say where. But bottom line is, when I went to the new company, I had to take a position back as a branch manager after being a vice president in an office with no people, going out of business, and I was tasked to close that office. And the day I got there, all the people, the 10, 15 people in the office had decided to sign a petition to keep the old manager and to not hire me. And the vice president at the time came downstairs and told me before they were going to introduce me, and I was like, well, that sucks. And he said, just wait here. Went back up. He says, okay, they're going to hear you out. And I remember I did one of the greatest speeches of my life. And I reinvigorated those people, and I said, we're not closing this office. You should have seen that guy's face. It's like, we're not. We're going to keep this office. We're going to grow this office. We're going to fix this office. We're going to, go to the promised land, everybody. And over that next, it was about 2 years, well, not only did we save that office, we got it to thrive, we opened another office, and I ended up having over 150, 200 people under me as a manager. And then, of course, the company came to me and said, hey, we need a vice president. And boom, took that position, and it continued to grow. And I love being in that position. But Brad, why aren't you a president? You're 53 years old, man. You should be a president. I don't want to be a president. I never have wanted to be a president. I love being close to the ground. I love being out with the people. I've never taken a private office. I've always sat in a bullpen. I've always sat in a cubicle. I've never taken anything where my nameplate has to be on the door or on the wall. Never had a nameplate. In this last 10 years, I work in my car. I work in the branches. I sit right next to the people. I will walk in and just hang out with the folks. I am everywhere, every day, all over the company, and in the mix with all of my folks. There's no ego. I'm not rolling around trying to be the guy nobody can reach. Everyone has my cell phone. Everybody can call. Everybody can chat. I mean, it's just a different way of leadership, but it's reached a level of, I've got this $200 million thriving region. Despite the real estate market and all the controversy in our business, we continue to thrive. We continue to do very, very well. And I'm not saying that it's because I'm this, Superman leader. It's, again, I picked great people, and I keep great people, and I support great people. So as a result, I've been able to achieve some great dreams. And will someday somebody call and tap me on the shoulder and ask me to be a president? It could happen, but I'm not after that. I'm good where I'm at. And I said this to my president the other day. I said, I'm not greedy, never have been greedy. I want to have a good life. I want to have an amazing wife, which I have. I want to have an amazing kid. I want to have, our awesome pets. I want to have our great home. I want to have a bunch of cool cars. And I want to have enough money to make sure that everybody in my family has everything they've ever needed and wanted. And I want to have a hell of a lot of fun up until the day that I die. And going and becoming a president, sometimes that doesn't look like that much fun to me. But I love being in the position I'm in. And I'm a phenomenal vice president, and I enjoy doing that. So with that, everybody, that's my job. That's what I do. And every day I manage the operations. I make tough decisions. I make, big decisions. I decide where we're going to open offices, close offices. I have to deal with things like layoffs, and sometimes it's hiring people and again, picking the right people. I have to deal with budgets. I have to deal with strategic decisions. I have to deal with competitive threats. I have to, manage our strengths and overcome our weaknesses. And I have to lead a large group of people. I have to continuously work to keep those people going in the right direction. I deal with HR stuff. You name it, it's all coming at me every single day. And again, most successful executives, it comes down to picking the right people, having the strength and ability to make those tough decisions when they need to be made, execute on those decisions, and make sure they're very well thought out, respectfully, with everyone who's going to be impacted in mind, to go forward and make really good decisions that benefit everybody around you, that make the company a better place every single day. And that's what I do. And I hope that makes sense. I hope I wasn't unclear. And I want to just end with this. I'm not rich by no means. I think the most I've ever made was, I think I was like 20, I was 30 years old, and I accidentally made like almost $680,000, like $700,000, some ridiculous amount of money. And it was because I happened to do 2 back-to-back flips. One of them was almost accidental. I'd kept the house for exactly 24 months and made $250,000 in 24 months and didn't even explain. It was pure accident. And of course, I got the money tax-free because of capital gains after keeping it for 2 years. And then, boom, next house I bought, I turned around and sold that thing, made another $100,000. All this happened in a year, along with my salary and selling houses and all this other stuff. It was massive. But since then, I've managed to continually make a really good living, really, really good living. And I can't say how much, but I can tell you it covers all this stuff and then some. And I'm 53. And I tell you the whole journey because there were good times, there were bad times. And everybody says, wow, it sounds like really easy. No, 2007 threw me into bankruptcy. That went really, really ugly. So I learned a lot of lessons there. I lost my sister in 2013. Sudden drug overdose, which was, I believe, accidental, but nobody knows, and I won't know until I see her again. It was horrible. 1 month into joining my new company and having to rebuild an office. I've had plenty of tragedy in my life, plenty of sadness, plenty of hurt, plenty of heartache. My wife had a double mastectomy. We've had cancer scares. You name it, we've been through it. My dad currently is sick and not doing well with Alzheimer's, and I don't know how much more time he has. So it's not all sunshine and roses. And I share that with you only because sometimes people write in the comments and go, oh, must be nice. You're privileged. You got it all. No, man, I got a lot of crap too. A lot of really tough stuff. Really hard things we've had to overcome. I've been brought to my knees several times, and Lord knows it can happen again. I've done a lot of things to make sure it doesn't, but it can happen again. So I never take for granted where I'm at. I believe in hubris. I believe in absolute humility and absolute respect for where you're at and appreciation of where you're at and gratefulness. And I'm beyond grateful. When I say I'm not rich, I say I'm not rich because rich is really fluid. It's a crazy, thing to define, because to somebody, making $50,000 a year, I'm filthy rich. But to somebody making $5 million a year, they look at me like I'm in poverty. And I share the story that I was sitting on my buddy's yacht, and he's a pretty famous guy, but I've known him long before he was famous, and he's, I'll tell you who he is. His name's Tariq El Moussa. He's the star of Flip or Flop. And I actually helped him and his wife get together, and then they ended up getting divorced, so I probably get blamed for that as well. But nonetheless, love him like a brother. And he, of course, skyrocketed. There was a time when I had way more money than him, and then, wham, he came to me with a crazy idea to borrow my camera and to go shoot a couple videos. And the guy became, and of course, I encouraged him. I said, if anybody can get a TV show, you could. He sent the DVDs. I edited the videos for him, sent them to the Pytown Productions, and they called him 6 months later, and now he has a yacht. So, you know, a lot of hard work in between there. And I told him one day sitting on his boat in the middle of his horrible divorce, and he's crying and he's sad, and it was the worst thing could happen to him. I mean, it was hard to see, hard to watch, and we're friends with both of them, so it was just really tough being in the middle. But I'm sitting on his yacht, and I remember looking at him, and he's just distraught and sad. And I put my arm around him and I said, you know, Tarek, I really, really, really am here for you if you ever need anything at all. But I know this is going to be tough. I know this is going to be really hard to get through this. But I'm also here to help shepherd you through making really good decisions so that you can keep this freaking yacht, because I really, really love you being rich. It's really, really, really awesome. And I'm sorry to be insensitive, but this is great, because, you know, it's a hell of a lot easier to go through something horrible when you're rich than it is when you're not rich. And he got through it, and I was, of course, joking, and he's built an amazing empire and has done incredible things, and he still has his yacht. And every time I've been on that thing, it's been just awesome. Despite me getting seasick and throwing up downstairs, it's still just a pretty cool experience. So he's rich. But then when I'm around him and see some of the people that he hangs out with that could buy and sell him, he looks like he's in poverty compared to them. So rich is subjective, everybody. Rich, in my opinion, is you've reached a place of financial security and stability to where you have everything you could ever really want. Anything beyond that would be absurd excess. You have an amazing life, amazing family. You're personally fulfilled. You have a great relationship with your maker, your creator, whatever, whoever yours is, and you're fulfilled. And I think at the end, I can pretty much wrap this video up with, at this stage of my life, I'm beat up, I'm bruised, but I'm fulfilled. So with that, everybody, hope you enjoyed today's video. It was from the heart, might be a little long, and I know I talk a lot, but if it inspires any of you just to go hustle really, really hard, put the time in, outwork everyone around you, absolutely decide this is what I want, and then go after it and don't let anything stop you. Be ethical, have integrity, care about others, and make good decisions. Learn from the bad ones, and go get your Demon 170 or whatever the hell it is you want. So with that, everybody, please like, subscribe, comment, share this video, and I'll do this again in like 3 more years. See you in the next one.